Hello, hello! Today's practice will be long, deep stretch for neck and shoulders. So feel free to do a shorter warm-up video beforehand or to just dive right into this as you practice today. Make sure you find your way to a really comfortable seat as we'll be in it for a while. So maybe like a bolster, block, edge of a chair. I'm on the edge of my meditation cushion coming into an easy pose. But again, just make it a comfortable seat, whatever that feels like for you and your body in the moment. And as you start to settle into your seat, first just checking in that the hips and the spine can find a place where you feel settled and comfortable, so you're not going to have any discomfort trying to hold yourself in this seat while we're trying to think more about what's happening in the arms and how we're feeling in the arms and shoulders and neck. So make any little adjustments, any little movement, grab more height underneath the pelvis, and then start to find that nice long spine, a little more length at the back of the neck. So we're drawing tall from the crown of the head, that chin is gently coming in and up, and then we'll fully relax the shoulders away from the ears. Allow your hands to rest wherever is comfortable. And we'll allow the hands to just slide organically as we start to find some shoulder shrugs. So just shrugging shoulders up toward the ears, letting them draw toward the space behind you, and then slide down the spine. Find a few going that direction. And then pause and switch. Let your shoulders come back up, forward, down. Find a few that direction. And let those shoulders soften all the way away from the ears. So they're fully relaxed. Make sure you didn't lose that length from the crown of the head, length at the back of the neck. And then notice that the shoulders are level, or as level as they're going to be. We all have one shoulder that's a little higher and a little lower, but they're both nice and neutral right now. And we're going to try to keep them neutral as we find a big inhale and lengthen the crown of the head, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And then exhale, allow your right ear to drop over toward your right shoulder, but don't go so far that you start to lift on the left. So it's just a long stretch for the side of the neck as we pull that ear directly toward the shoulder, and we'll pause. And then begin to lift that opposite hand. Lift your left hand. We're going to reach it outside the hips, and we're going to draw that hand away in the opposite direction of where the crown of the head is pointing. So crown of the head's reaching toward the corner of wall in the ceiling. That right ear is gently drawing toward right shoulder, and our left fingertips are reaching away, away, away. Pause. And then start to just play with where that left arm is in space. So I'm going to move it a little bit behind me. It's going to change where I feel stretch. I'm going to move it a little bit in front of me. It's going to change. I can move it a little closer to the earth or a little higher out. Find a place where it feels like you need a good stretch, and just pause there for a moment. And then allow that hand to draw back in and just rest on the thigh as is comfortable. Still keeping that left shoulder nice and low and relaxed. And then we're going to rotate our chin out toward the top of our right shoulder. That should change the sensation of stretch a little bit, and we'll pause there. And then begin to rotate your gaze forward again so that ear is rotating back over the shoulder. And we'll lift the head all the way back up. Find your neutral spine length from the back of the neck. Shrug your shoulders a couple times, each direction. Let both those shoulders fully soften away from the ears. Big inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, left ear, left shoulder. Pause. See if you put your right shoulder in your ear, if you did take it out. And then start to bring in that right hand, reaching opposite direction where crown of the head is pointing. We're imagining length, almost like we have this one imaginary line from the crown of the head through the opposite fingers, reaching, reaching, reaching. And then start to just play, get curious about where that right arm is in space. What is it doing? Which direction is it reaching? And where can I settle into a space where I find a really satisfying stretch somewhere in my arm or my shoulder or my neck, and I'll pause. Allowing that hand to come back. Rest at the lap. If you put your right shoulder in your ear again, like I just did, we're going to relax it down. Keep that left ear drawing over toward the left shoulder, and then rotate the chin out toward the top of the shoulder. Gaze coming a few feet past your hips. Rotating the gaze forward again, ear over shoulder. Lift that all the way back up. Gently turn the head once, side to side. Shrug your shoulders a couple times each direction. Let the right hand rest as is comfortable. Bring your left hand out to your left side. Rotate your palm to face behind you and your thumb to face the floor. There we go. And then we're going to bend that elbow, bring that back of the hand or forearm across the low back. We're going to gently press that arm into the low back while we imagine reaching our left shoulder back, and then keeping that sense of firm pressing in with the hand or forearm, drawing back with the shoulder. We're going to rotate the chin out toward the top of the right shoulder. Pause. Beginning to rotate the gaze back toward the front. Slow releasing that left hand. Just bring it down beside your hip. Give it a nice little organic shake. Let that arm rest as is comfortable. Bring right arm out. Palm faces behind you. Thumb face down. Hey, I got it right first time that side. We will bend the elbow. Press the forearm or back of the hand into the low back. Draw that right shoulder back, and then holding onto that, rotating that chin out toward the top of the left shoulder. Pause. Beginning to slowly rotate the gaze back toward the front of your space. We'll relax and release that right arm. Just let it dangle for a moment. Give it a nice little shake. Bringing both hands to heart center, but we'll interlace the fingers at heart center and flip the palms to point out in front of you. And then we'll press those hands away, rounding through the spine and letting the gaze come down toward the lap. Pause, really reaching with the hands, rounding through the spine. Gaze is low. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And then taking that stretch, taking those interlaced hands up overhead as you lift to neutral spine. So we take those pressing palms, we lift them up overhead as we bring the crown of the head back in line with the hips, and then we stretch, stretch, stretch up toward the ceiling. Stretch, 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 stretch. Relax that stretch, bend the elbows. Let your interlaced fingers almost touch the top of your head. Stretch, stretch, stretch again, pressing those hands high, 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 high. Find a big inhale. Exhale, side bend left, keeping your right hip heavy. Start stretching back toward neutral spine again, lifting those hands overhead. Reach, 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 reach. Keeping your left hip seated, side bend right. Pause. Lifting back towards center, big stretch. Again, bending those elbows out to the side. Let your hands come down so they almost touch the crown of your head. This time we're going to bring them behind the head, taking those interlaced fingers to support the base of the skull. Gently letting your hands support your head as you back bend. Open the heart. Imagine you're going to try to touch your elbows together behind you, really opening through the heart, stretching across the front of the shoulder. Pec minor, serratus. Gaze is high. Lifting your way back toward neutral. Release those hands from the base of the skull. Reach them overhead again. This time, separate the fingers, sweep those arms all the way around behind the low back. Interlace the fingers at the low back. Draw hands toward the floor behind you. Pause here, just pulling those hands back and down. Or if you have further to go, starting to lift your hands further away from your spine. And starting to slowly release the hands back in toward the low back. Releasing the fingers, parting the hands, bringing both hands beside the hips. Give both arms a nice little shake, shake, shake. And then keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed, we're going to float the arms out so they're parallel to the floor. First, just imagine reaching opposite directions. So there's tension fingertips to fingertips while we keep the shoulders soft. Reach, 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 reach. And then we're going to cross the arms across the front of the chest. We're going to let the left bicep come on top. We're going to bend the elbows, bring the backs of the forearms and backs of the hands together. If that's a good place for you, stay there. Or if you want to play with going a little further, try to bring those arms all the way around so the palms reach one another. And then either way, we're just going to take those forearms, we're going to reach them away from us so we get more of a stretch between the shoulder blades. And then we're going to try to lift those fingertips a little higher toward the ceiling and pause. Waiting for an inhale. Unwind everything all together. Inhale those fingertips wide, 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 wide. Again, tension from fingertip to fingertip, length, length, length. And then wind right up to your other side. Right bicep over the left. We let those backs of the hands rest together, or we come all the way around, palms together. We press those forearms toward the front of our space. We reach those fingertips a little higher to the ceiling. Should be a pretty good stretch between the base of the shoulder blades. Waiting for that next in-breath. Use your in-breath to start to unwind, create space. Fronts and backs of shoulders. Reach, 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 reach. And then we're going to bring our left hand up toward the ceiling. Bend that left elbow. Reach the fingertips down between the shoulder blade. Take that right hand and start to reach it in toward the left elbow. If it won't get there, we're just going to reach both our elbows toward one another. If it will get there, we're going to bring those fingertips to this opposite elbow and we're going to pull it in a little closer to midline, but we're going to make sure we didn't do anything weird with our neck or spine to get there. So that crown of the head is still right over the hips and we're still drawing long, 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 long while we find this arm variation. Or shoulders are feeling pretty open, cow face is part of your practice. Maybe you see what it feels like to bring that right arm down, palm facing behind, thumb facing the floor, bend that elbow, reach that hand up between the shoulder blades, and pause in your cow face arms. Waiting for your next in-breath. We're going to release all the way out to that length, fingertips reaching in opposite directions. And we're going to exhale directly to the other side. Tricep stretch, maybe with assistance from opposite arm, maybe cow face arms. Pause, make sure your spine is long, crown of the head still right over the center of the hips. Waiting for that next in-breath to release, unwind, find that length. And then keep your arms reaching, but bend your elbows to 90. So your fingertips are pointed skyward, but you're still thinking about length. One arm reaching away from the other. And then keeping that sense of expansiveness. See if you can open through the heart here. Press your forearms toward the wall behind you. Let the gaze come high. And then lifting back to neutral spine, we're going to reach both hands overhead, about a shoulder distance between the hands, palms facing one another, biceps frame the ears. Seat those arms down into the shoulder sockets. Take your right fingertips around your left wrist. Inhale to find some length. Again, keeping the hips equally weighted. Find a side bend to the right, stretching that left side body and arm. Getting ready to lift back to center, releasing that side. Moving right to your second side. Left fingers find the right wrist, find length, length, length. Side stretch, keeping that sense of length. Right hip is heavy. Right side body and arm are stretching, stretching, stretching. Lifting back to neutral, release that wrist. Bring both arms down beside the hips. Give them a nice little shake. Let the hands rest on the thighs. Do a couple shoulder shrugs, moving one direction. Couple shoulder shrugs, moving the other direction. Letting those shoulders soften, soften, soften. And maybe flowing into another stretch practice for another part of your body, moving into a different part of your practice, or wrapping up from here. Whatever it is, I hope that you enjoy it and find what you are needing. Thank you.